Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is your host Carmina, and today we have the pleasure of being joined yet again by Neeshee. Hi Neeshee, welcome back to the channel.
Hi Carmina, it's good to be back.
It's great to have you back, especially after meeting you in person last week.
That's right.
Yay. So Neeshee and I were thinking about talking a little bit about the upcoming eclipse on July 2nd. I know you probably saw eclipse videos done like a month ago, 2 months ago about this topic, but we're gonna try something new. So this is like purely from the cards of truth perspective. Of course, we're gonna mention some astrology as well, because astrology is part of the cards of truth, and we're also gonna mention the Bernadette Brady Soros cycles of eclipses. So maybe we should start with that, Neeshee. So what is this eclipse family from July 2nd? What can we expect from it? What is the root of this eclipse family?
So basically, when we're looking at eclipses, we have to look at several factors. Eclipses occur in cycles, right? So those cycles are known as the Saros series. Somebody out there can correct my pronunciation if they like. But Saros series, the first observed by the Greeks, and they articulated the pattern in which eclipses happen. They noticed that they happen in particular families, basically, So in other words, every eclipse that happens belongs to a larger portrait of eclipses. So it's useful, in my opinion, to look at the Saros series and see what is the pattern of that series, and then to look at the specific eclipse. And so one astrologer who's done this and created their own system of looking at eclipse families is Bernadette Brady, who wrote a book called Predictive Astrology. And in that, you'll see there's an appendix of every eclipse that's happening, and it's been grouped into families. And this is this astrologer's own little system using Saros series and whatnot, but it's useful. And Bernadette Brady gives little summaries of what each eclipse is really kind of about. Okay, so maybe a good place to start before we go deep into the rabbit hole of cards is let's just see what this astrologer has to say about it. So I'm just going to read it word for word. This is a North Node eclipse. It's a Rahu eclipse. The first eclipse in this series was on October 10th, 991. So wow. That was a long time ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah, you'll see some eclipse cycles are really old, and some it's this is close to the end, and some are pretty new. It's there's quite a span here. So this eclipse cycle ends on November 11th, 2235.
So maybe in our lifetime.
That's right. So we're actually closer to the end of this cycle. So here's what Bernadette Brady says. This is an over-excessive eclipse family, its main theme being either news involving young people or news that transforms a situation. This information can cause worry or can cause the person to become obsessive. The individual may want to undertake large plans or activities, which can be very positive, as long as the individual doesn't get carried away.
So, well, it's interesting because, of course, it's taking place in a cardinal sign, which is all about pioneering, right? The cardinal sign of Cancer announces the season of summer. And what else can we say? Let's just pull up the card spread. I'm going to share my screen, and the cards will maybe do more talking for us.
Well, the other thing that comes to mind reading that description is that Bernadette is basically describing an imbalance in the earth element.
Yes.
Earth element relates to the spleen, and one of the psychological signs of earth element being out of balance is a lot of worry and rumination and going over things again and again and again and not quite being able to make a decision, not being able to manifest, So not being able to make the plans, Mercury, right?
Maybe
So,
also something to do with, because it's about news, like a piece of news, maybe something clubby information, because I see the card that the eclipse takes place in is the Four of Clubs, right? We see Sun, Moon, North Node in the Four of Clubs. So
yep.
Four of Clubs would be some sort of being comfortable, being secure with a piece of information, but because the North Node is there, it brings some erratic, some obsessive element, like she was mentioning.
And there we have the 4 again. So for Mercury, Mercury's
Yeah,
Earth.
exactly. Mercury is Earth, Mercury is 4. And I think we should mention, okay, the card of the day is the King of Diamonds. So that's the Earth element. The King, of course, relates to Pluto. And Pluto in this spread is actually the Queen of Diamonds. So you need to sacrifice that in order to become a better king, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's a focus on the earth element, like you said, a focus on Mercury. It's a focus on letting go of maybe being busy, like the queen, being energetic and just, focusing more on the important things, the important decisions, the important things that need to be let go of, because we also have this nice trio of Saturn, South Node, Pluto, which is all about letting go. And that made me think of you mentioning that, okay, this is one of the last eclipses in this cycle. So that makes sense with the South Node connotation of letting go and ending, and also Pluto and Saturn. So yeah, definitely some letting go there.
Yeah, and with the king, the king with the King of Diamonds representing this particular eclipse on July 2nd, eclipses in general already have kind of a Plutonian quality to them. So anytime I see like the king come up or Saturn or something like that, it just makes it stronger. The theme of resolution, the theme of bringing something to its final point and then being able to let it go because you fulfilled it.
Yes.
And we do have, right opposite the eclipse in Capricorn, we do have the South Node, K2, we have Saturn, and we have Pluto. And I think you did a video on this. You were reflecting on the themes of completion and resolution amongst those 3 planets, all stacked up together in one sign. Again, Capricorn, Earth element sign, about our manifestation in the world. So there's a lot of resolution around diamond things, how we are in the world, what's valuable to us, how we express ourselves concretely.
Yes, and also this King of Diamonds has a connotation also of generosity, charity, of giving away, letting go. So being at the high level of accumulation of those goods, but then also being capable of giving it away, right? Because
That's right.
all the kings have this quality of 7, 8s, and 9s, which is actually Saturn and the nodes.
Right.
So, and another ecliptic connotation.
That's right.
Yeah, so to speak. We see that, speaking of ecliptic, the ecliptic card is the 8 of Spades. So that's a very introspective card. That's a very North Node, Rahu, fiery thing. How
And
would
it is a
you...
North Node eclipse too.
Yeah, exactly. How would you interpret that, seeing that the North Node card is the 10 of Hearts, which is, receiving support and popularity from the environment, receiving emotional support, while at the same time being on the path of loneliness, being on,
Right. It is interesting to see that 10 of Hearts as the North Node card, because the eclipse is happening in the sign of Cancer, which is a card of emotional nourishment, not a card, it's a sign of emotional security and nourishment and balance and being able to receive the energy of life and then being able to give that to others and being connected to oneself emotionally, energetically, to one's environment and so forth. The 10 of Hearts to me, to have I have a heart card there is very appropriate. And the 10 of Hearts, I see that card as being about kind of like realizing love, being able to persist as that, being able to persist as love, being able to receive and give love in the face of whatever may come in one's path. Because the 10 has that energy of being able to kind of stick with it,
Yes, it's
at
like...
the end of the cycle, it's after the 9.
Yeah, so you're already, you got it, right? You're already at the reward stage. So,
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's also interesting that in this spread of the King of Diamonds, we have two fours. One of them is the Four of Clubs in the Moon placement, and the other one is the Four of Spades in the Saturn placement. And they're both of them are black, so it's like they take more effort. They both point to some sort of security, but the one, you know, in the Saturn is like a security that's a bit shaken up. So maybe we have to let go of the temporary shelter and not cling on to something temporary, which is the Four of Spades, and focus more on like temporary for our bodily comfort, and then focus more on what makes sense, what is manageable inspiration wise, which is the clubs. Maybe that's
There's
one way.
also two tens, two eights, two aces.
Yeah. It's a nice spread, this King of Diamonds.
It is, yeah. So, you know, King of Diamonds also is just, in a general way, we could say, is just about releasing the material world.
Yes.
You know? So Cancer is also a sign, you know, which the eclipse is happening in, that's not actually about the material world. It's a Sattvic sign. It's a Brahmin Rashi. It's a water element sign. It's about being connected to those things that are beyond the material world, the things that belong to the interior world, that are senior to what we see, you know, with our open eyes. So that's part of the focus of the eclipse. That's part of what eclipses are about in general. You know, they're about shifting things into that, what we would call shadow area, you know, a place where we become more aware. So this eclipse is really not about the world or becoming more successful, or, you know, this is not going to be that eclipse that like transforms your life and makes you into like a super, you know, super rich person in the world or something. This is an eclipse that's about introspection and inspecting your place in the world and how you relate to all of those things.
Yeah, that really makes sense with that Eight of Spades ecliptic, right? Your place in the world, like who am I? What is the truth about myself? You know, what is the friendship I have with myself, my, you know, my truth there. So it makes very much sense what you're saying about that.
And we have all those planets in Capricorn, you know, so it's like our worldly energy is something we need to let go of right now. And that's sort of been the theme of Rahu and Ketu in Cancer and Capricorn all this time, is that we're needing to let go of Capricorn, you know, the world, so to speak, you know, and put more energy into developing what's internal, you know. They're not exclusive, obviously. I'm not telling people to go run into the woods, but psychologically, you know, that's the dynamic.
Yes. Yeah, all the spades are very psychologically oriented. So maybe that Four of Spades in Saturn versus that Eight of Spades ecliptic. So just let go of that temporary thing and go deeper, you know, take the inner journey, the Chariot, the Eight of Spades. So, and also, like you said, it's not really about worldly. The Queen of Diamonds is a pretty worldly card, right? It's like a powerful, successful woman. So just let go of that. For now, I think it's, and I think you were mentioning when we were talking before the video, what was the birth card of the first eclipse in this series?
Four of Diamonds.
Four of Diamonds. So another four. So we have this four mercurial energy.
That's right.
And the Four of Diamonds is an integral part, of course, of the Queen of Diamonds, which is in the Pluto card. So yeah, it has this mark of security. What is security? Probably like what does security mean for me? What makes me secure? And now with this King of Diamonds is maybe letting go of that security, kind of just taking a leap of faith, just
Exactly. And you said leap of faith, so that's a good moment to make the point that King of Diamonds corresponds to the Fool card. So in Tarot, so that's, you know, the typical image of the Fool is that one foot off of the precipice of a cliff, apparently unaware of the plunge it's about to happen. But that's what's, you know, that's a quality that allows us to actually realize spirituality.
exactly.
So, well, so I was going to say one other thing that you just brought up. Oh, four of diamonds, right. So four of diamonds is the key card because it's the fourth card for the fourth suit diamond. So it is about being secure with one's diamonds, you know, the material things of value and substance in one's life. So if it's an eclipse series that's marked by that, you know, of course, here we're taking the first eclipse of the series. So it's like the birth, right?
Yeah.
That means that this eclipse family is going to bring up things about one's security, you know, how one feels relative to one's diamonds, you know. Then you have a king of diamonds on top of it. So this whole eclipse family is really about reevaluating, you know, one's concrete relationship to things and what is really valuable to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Cancer is a sign that realizes the value of something that has nothing to do with the external world, you know. That's what Cancer is basically all about. So,
yeah.
these are contemplate.
Another interesting thing to say is, okay, during this eclipse, it will be a total solar eclipse. So the sun will be swallowed by the light of the sun. So what is the sun? It's our, drive to move forward. It's, the birth of something, the start of something. So that gets a little bit shadow. So it's like, okay, maybe not start something now, but just think about what has already been started. Like, I think that's also one side of the story.
Right. This is not a time of trying to create something because the sun is being eclipsed. So it's a time, use that moment to not try to manifest and create something, but to sit with what's already there and try to assimilate something new. And the way I look at it is that North Node, Rahu eclipses, always bring something up that we need to assimilate into ourselves, you know. When we do, we become more nourished, we become more balanced, you know, the 8.
Yeah.
And more fulfilled by that. But it's not easy to swallow often what Rahu brings up. But if we could swallow it, you know, if we could have the digestive capacity for this new thing that Rahu represents for us, we become much more strong, you know, much more balanced, much more fulfilled. So it's not really about trying to put something that's in you out. It's about what do I need to take in that I'm not aware of yet? You know, that's actually a part of me. It's actually who I am, but I haven't quite, you know, embraced it yet. Or maybe I not only have not embraced it, I've denied it.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah. It's interesting. So Rahu is going to swallow the sun, and we have to swallow the bitter pill of Rahu.
That's right. Exactly. You know, the way I look at it too, it's like the myth is like that, you know, Rahu swallows the sun, Rahu and Ketu swallow the sun and the moon from time to time to take revenge on the gods for cutting them in half. And so this is considered to be a time from the Vedic perspective of, like, you know, demonic victory. That's why everyone's taking shelter and freaking out. But a psychological interpretation of that would be that if we don't face our shadows, then, you know, we are doomed to darkness. We swallow the light, you know, of our soul if we don't become more conscious of what, you know, you call the shadow. So I think that's really what the whole thing about Rahu taking revenge and Rahu swallowing the luminaries is all about. It's that that is what's happening, you know, if we're not really aware.
Yeah, the shadow side swallowing you because you want to deny it. So instead of denying it, maybe trying to work with it a little bit, acknowledge it at least.
That's the point of the eclipse, is it's just going to magnify that reality. That's already happening for all of us on some level. So it's a moment to just let the resonance reflect itself to us, you know, and then we can see something more about what's going on in our lives, you know. Then you get brighter, your sun is, you know, more manifesting, more creative, more inspired.
Yeah.
That's how I see it, you know.
Yeah, I think that's, I think we did a pretty interesting synthesis on this upcoming eclipse. Would you like to add anything else about it? No.
Not in particular. I mean, I think if you're any of the birth cards that we've mentioned today, that's interesting. That's going to be a resonance.
Or
you know?
if the King of Diamonds is your time period in the year, right?
Right. You're running a King of Diamonds. If the King of Diamonds is your 7-year progression card, if any of these cards are showing up in your spreads in some significant way that we mentioned several cards: King of Diamonds, Four of Clubs, Four of Spades, Queen of Diamonds, Eight of Spades.
Yeah.
Those are all in 10 of Hearts. Those are all important, you know, so all in different ways. Of course, if you want details, you have to contact one of us for a reading. But no, really, I mean, it is a little bit complex, but just know if those cards are in your spread somehow, this is important for you.
Yes. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. Thank you very much, Neeshee. That was very insightful. I mean, talking to you, I thought about some things about this eclipse that I hadn't, thought about before. So it was a really nice interaction. And I hope you guys enjoyed it too and you learned something new. And Neeshee and I will be holding an original class about the cards of truth. We haven't seen it done before, and it's called Healing with the Cards of Truth. And it focuses on identifying causes of, unwellness with the cards of truth, and also offering solutions to these levels of unwellness of the physical, emotional, psychological body. And these classes are going to start July 20th. You can check out the description box for more details. We would love to see you there. Neeshee, what is your website where people can reach you? What your YouTube channel?
They can reach me at atmaastrology.com, ATMA astrology.com. And my YouTube channel is the same.
Wonderful. Okay, Neeshee, thank you very much. Looking forward to talking to you again.
Yes, looking forward to our course and wishing everybody an auspicious eclipse.
Yes. Okay, see you soon, guys. Bye.
Bye.